How are you, Marisa?
I'm
Marisa?
well. How are you?
Good, good. So you've got this new series, Industry. Obviously, it's a show in which American audiences will get to see a whole cast of new actors, including yourself.
Yeah.
How did the role come about for you?
Actually, it came up on Spotlight. I don't know if you have Spotlight in the US, but it's kind of like the actors database here. So I was still in my final year of drama school at the time, and I hadn't been signed to my agent yet. And I just got a notification from the casting director that was like, "We would like to see you for this role." And I mean, it was amazing. It was kind of the dream. But like I say, I was still in my final year of drama school, so while I was feeling super excited, I always also kind of saw like ding, ding, ding of like all of the other kind of classmates in my year get little notifications about it. So, I mean, there was a big buzz about it in London at the time. A lot of people from drama schools were auditioning. Yeah, but I got my first kind of self-tape in January, and I didn't go in the room until April.
But it came before Cobra.
I think it came around the audition came at the same time as Cobra. So I did the self-tapes I might have even done them on the same day because I think I went to get my hair cut. So I look nice.
So you're playing Yasmin. Obviously, she's entrenched in this finance world, and each one of the characters has something different from each other. How would you best describe Yasmin?
I would describe Yasmin as someone whose biggest fear is being dismissed, but not quite knowing herself well enough yet to know how to insert herself into a world in which she demands being noticed. I think that's a space in which she doesn't quite know how to inhabit yet. She doesn't know how to demand people's attention. And I think, like many young women, that's an uncomfortable space for her to be in, like demanding people to listen to her. So she's kind of in this tender area of not wanting to step on anyone's toes, but she doesn't want to be quickly forgotten. So that's why I think she finds it so difficult stepping into a new workplace straight away. And she's different, very different to Harper in the sense that she's not willing to kind of grab everyone's attention. She's also confident at the same time as being very vulnerable, I think. She's confident in certain situations, maybe with men where she wants their attention, and in other where she doesn't necessarily want the attention. I don't think she knows how to deal with that yet.
So you kind of have, I wouldn't say, the difficult role because, as you mentioned, your character wants attention. So part of it has to do with everything you're doing, not only just spitting out the lines and the dialogue, but how you're looking, being that flirty, and that calls a lot more attention than some of the other characters. You know, was that a little bit more, I won't say challenging or daunting because, you have to do a little bit more because you have to look a certain way. You have to do a certain, you have to do more physically in a way than some of the other characters do.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorite things about Yasmin when I read it. As a young woman, this kind of idea that someone is quite flirtatious, she dresses in a certain way, she wants to present herself in a way where like people around her, she's not shy about the way she looks. If anything, like I think Yasmin would be disappointed if kind of she didn't turn heads. But then knowing how to turn that off and be respected in the workplace, she has no idea how to walk that line. And we see it in like the second episode. It's like, as soon as she's there, she's getting everyone's coffee orders. She's like not being taken seriously, and she does not know how to work it out. But women should be able to be multifaceted, and have control over their own sexuality. I present it to you now, but then when I want to take it away, it should be within my power to take it away. I just don't think she has the strength yet to know how to take it away or when to.
Now, for a show like this, did you do any research in terms of the finance industry so that way when you're spitting out these drawings, you have an idea for what you're talking about?
I did. But I mean, I was lucky because Yasmin isn't really given the opportunity to do that much work, and that's kind of her thing. She wants to do more. I didn't have much to say. There's one scene where she has to pitch an idea, and I like majorly focused on that and made sure I knew what it was that she was talking about. But yeah, Yasmin doesn't actually have that much. We had a session with Bloomberg where we could see, you know, like what it was that we were looking at all day. But, you know, that was half of the shoot, was me just trying to figure out what was actually like on our screens. It's a tricky world. There's a lot of jargon, and, you know, there's a lot of just things to look at constantly, different time zones, different currencies. But yeah, you kind of get used to it.
It's an ensemble cast, you know, obviously, you know, you spent time putting together, you know, episode after episode. How was working with this cast and getting along? I know when people work on, whether it's a film or series, they do their work in the home. So here, did you guys get along? Did you guys, you know, able to become friends afterwards?
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, we got along so well. It was really amazing. I mean, Myha'la, as someone that's coming from the US, she kept having to kind of make sure that her visa was like okay, so she kept having to leave the country for a weekend and come back in. So me and Myha'la and Harry, we would like go to like Belgium, or we go to Barcelona, or we take these little trips. When she came to London, we were like, this is what to do. Like, yeah, we had the best time. I mean, you know, we were all like 22, moving to Wales, like living in the same apartment building. It was a really, really fun time, and for sure, like friends for life. Yeah.
I know you're part of the cast, but when people talk to you about this series, what do you think is going to set this series apart from other series we've seen where it's a bunch of 20-year-olds trying to make it out in this world, and even though they all have their insecurities, you know, what outside of this being in a financial world, is there anything different that you see?
Yeah, I think that one of the things I really love about this show is the positions of power that different people are put in at different times and how they deal with that. I think living in a world right now where there are so many abuses of power going on in kind of like every facet of society, and we walk into a world that's seemingly kind of, you know, should be quite rigid. It's a workplace environment, and you have these kind of mentor relationships where really it's so easy for people to abuse their power. And then not only that, but as the episodes go on, as the grads start to have a little bit of power, like how they use it against each other as well, inevitably I think this series becomes about power dynamics, as well as they want them to be about friendships and kind of relationships and those dynamics. But the way in which people interact with power at such a young age, either being kind of subjected to it or when you finally get some, I think it's a really interesting series in that way.
Like your homework. You know, not that far removed from school, but you've already done two series, which is great. You know, so coming up down the road, and obviously, you know, whether this series gets renewed or not, what's the sort of work you're looking to do? Whether it's film or TV, or is it because you're young in your career? I won't say anything goes, but is there anything that you're looking to do?
I mean, yeah, God, I mean, this was just such an amazing thing to drop into my lap. You know, it's like a lead in an HBO show. It doesn't really get much, in my opinion. I was like, oh my God, you know, when I got the job, I was like, I'm 21 years old. Like, how does it get any better than this? But, you know, I'd love to do film. I'd also love to do theater. I love theater. I trained in it, and America seems like, you know, I went to New York for the first time when I finished filming, and I saw Myha'la and stuff like that, but I would love to work out there. I feel like that's just an amazing opportunity, and most actors' dream, filming in LA and being on stage in Broadway. That would just be like, you know, a dream. Yeah.
Before I let you go, at this point right now, obviously you're in London, I'm in New York. You know, what's keeping you humble? Like, obviously, are you quarantined in a way, like, or you're staying home all the time, or, you know, I don't know how it is in London. Do you get to come outside, or what's the
Yeah, we get to go outside, but I mean, you know, it's like it's coming back again, and I mean, it's a lot. I stay in a lot, and like I go for walks with friends and that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's just the world is such a crazy, crazy place right now. Limiting my screen time is really important to me, because it feels like you can just get sucked into a hole that's like, and this is what's wrong in this part of the world and this part, and then and it's like, it's overwhelming. And doing your part, I think, is really important, and seeing what you can do to help is really important. You know, like there are places all over the UK right now that are really struggling, and just, yeah, I mean, staying humble right now, I think, is so important for everyone. It's a crazy time. I mean, the fact that this is going on in the middle of all of it is kind of crazy. It's actually the one thing that's kind of like a really light, amazing part of my day.
Great, because obviously it's a show that people will watch. You know, it's HBO Max. You know, obviously we're gonna hear more from you. We're gonna read more about you. So keep doing your thing. I'm sure we'll talk down the road. Whatever's the next project. So have yourself a great day.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Bye.